Good morning everyone. Welcome to the Working Trader, where we look at the Euro USD charts and do a daily analysis and coming up with trade ideas for the day. So we are going to look at Forex Factory, and today we have high impact news at 1:30. That is the NFP, non-farm employment change, and we should definitely expect high volatility around this time. So usually at these high impact news events, either our entries on the higher time frames will get triggered, or our TP on the higher time frames will get triggered. These are usually not safe to trade on the lower time frames, as you get filled at a worse price than what was intended. So for today, I think that's the key news event to look at, and I think this will set the tone for the rest of the week. So Wednesday there's no US news, so that means whatever happens today will set the tone for Wednesday and most likely for Thursday. Thursday, the CPI initially, which was tentative, but we'll see as Thursday comes along. So today is the main news event that will set the tone for the week. Okay, so let's look at the charts and recap yesterday before we look at today's trading ideas, if any. Okay, so on the daily, it's clear that we are now bullish. Okay, so obviously we've been making price has been printing demand zones and respecting them, and then we've been violating supply areas. Okay, and now we are in this supply area that has been mitigated once, twice, and we expect it to fail, and then before we mitigate at least this unmitigated supply at the top, where we may expect a reaction. Okay, where we may expect a reaction. So with the way price, so as of yesterday, we were mentioning that prices stuck between this supply and this demand, but demand is in control, so we expect price to continue bullish until it at least mitigates this daily supply. So looking at the 4-hour, on the 4-hour we had this for demand, where I was thinking that price would mitigate this before it continues to go bullish. However, we didn't have much of a retracement. Price just trickled going up. However, you can see there's no momentum, and then it just pulled back. So usually Monday being a low range day, so that means we'll have low volatility. So this is kind of expected price action, where you really don't have much happening. Okay, where there's not much happening on a Monday. So today is when we expect to see the real moves in the market. That's where we expect to see the real moves in the market. So the NFP could be the catalyst to cause price to come down, mitigate this area, and then maybe we'll range for a couple of for a day, and then when CPI comes, then CPI might be the catalyst to then push price up again. However, this is just speculation, So we never know what price will do when news comes out. So looking at the 1 hour, price broke structure. Okay. It did come down, and then we had a good push up. So we had another break of structure. This is more an internal break of structure. That is an internal break of structure on the 1 hour. So that means our strong internal low is this one. Internal strong, and that makes that 1 hour weak. Internal high. So this is the current range of price. So obviously it didn't pull back into this area before continuing bullish. All right. However, even though we're in this range, everything has been mitigated. Okay, so all demand areas have been mitigated. So it's highly likely that they may fail, right? Or at least to retest the extreme before maybe a push out. Okay. However, it's highly likely that all of these areas will fail, and then we'll have a deeper retracement. Okay, we'll have a deeper retracement. So looking on to the analysis of the day, we'll go back to the daily. So on the daily, our narrative is still the same. Well, it has changed now, but our swing is bullish. This is our swing range. Our internal is now shifted bullish, and this is our current internal range on the daily. So we have internal bullish, our swing is bullish, so high probability direction for our trades is bullish. Okay, so right now we have a scenario where either price is consolidating for a while before it makes it its next strong push out, or it's consolidating before it makes a deeper retracement to maybe mitigate this demand down here. So pretty much we can say every demand at the bottom here has been mitigated. Okay, of course we do have our extreme of the swing leg, which has not been mitigated, but right now we could say that our higher swing low is now in place. It's not yet confirmed, but could be now in place, and this is now where we are, or we expect price to continue bullish until it takes out the weak swing high. However, at the moment it is still it still needs to be confirmed. Okay, so when we look at the 4 hour, we have this POI, and we could look at this as liquidity that needs to be taken. So price could continue dropping, all right, until we mitigate at least this 4 hour POI before we then have a push out. So what that means is demand is still in control. We haven't seen any demand areas fail. Okay, so demand is pushing price up, and we haven't really mitigated any supply areas for them to take control. So the expectation is we could maybe push down a little bit to take out this liquidity and then continue bullish until at least to mitigate this daily supply and 4-hour supply. So because we have NFP today, that could be the driver that will push our price lower, right? To at least mitigate the 4-hour, to mitigate at least this 4-hour demand. And then on Thursday, we have CPI, which could then also push price, up, or it could be vice versa, right? But as it stands, prices in no man's land, right? So either we wait for a mitigation of this 4-hour demand to look for buys, or we wait for mitigation of this 4-hour supply to look for sales. So as it stands, price is ranging, so we do nothing. Okay, we do nothing. So looking at the 1 hour, so on our 1 hour we do have this internal range that we have right now. So so if you look at all the demand areas on the 1 hour chart, they've all been mitigated. So all demand areas on the 1 hour, we have our demand chain. We've had a slight mitigation on that one, slight mitigation, and this one still to be used. Okay, we've had a bit of mitigation of it there. All right, so we can expect a deeper mitigation of that. If it comes lower, expect deeper mitigation of this one. This one we could say it's been used up. Okay, obviously it used we've had 1, 2, 3 mitigations, so we could say all the orders that were available here have been used up. So we are either waiting for this demand to fail and we run this liquidity to mitigate this area before we use that as fuel to continue bullish. If all of this fails, then we're expecting price to push down and mitigate the 1 hour nested demand in this 4-hour POI. Okay, otherwise we are simply waiting for price to continue bullish, mitigate this daily supply, this 4-hour, and maybe have a reaction from there, but high probability trades are bullish, right? High probability trades are bullish. Daily is bullish, 4 hours is bullish, 1 hour is bullish. So always trade in the direction of the trend for better odds on your trading. All right, so that's the analysis for today. So as usual, if you find if you find this daily analysis valuable, helpful to you, helpful to your trading, please hit the like and subscribe, and leave a comment and let me know what you think. Other than that, have a good day. Working Trader out.